Okay, welcome back. This is part two of the knot fingers, or knot hands, or knotted fingers, or knotted hands. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Um, and K-N-O-T-T-E-D, knots. They're tie. When you tie a knot, this is a knot. So K-N-O-T. So and sounded as knot. Maybe I am saying it N-A-U-G-H-T. So pardon me for that. Again, uh, so we were discussing that the person with either just the finger as knot fingers or the whole hand as a knot hand, depending upon if it's pointed or square or flat. We didn't get into that yet, but we just mentioned it. But given the situation, we were say, okay, let's talk about one portion, second, and the first and second and third portion, or third parts of it, and how the energy flows within your fingers. So these people, we said, okay, these people are difficult people. They are hard to communicate with. They try to find, try to think everything critical. Even if you're drinking water, they will say, okay, you know what? You should hold this glass like this, and you should drink 2 glasses instead of 3 glasses, or you should 16 glasses. They're always critical. Now, that criticism could be positive. That criticism could be negative. Now, it all depends the type of the hand and type of personality that we deduce from rest of the information from the hand. So if a very positive hand is a very nicely critical person who is a good mathematician, who's a good scientist, who's a good policeman, CSI, and investigator, he's an educated person. He communicates very well. He puts up with logic. He writes articles, and he writes papers in journals and newspapers, on the TV. So he presents himself in a very methodical way, in a very logical way. That's a normal, beautiful hand of a knot person, a person with a knot hand. Now, if it grows out too much, you are a problematic person. You are still, but it's too much of that kind of a personality. If it's least, then you don't even have a critical attitude or critical thinking or anything. You don't like to, just, okay, you just take the face. That's smooth, straight fingers. Okay, so same way, every lesson that I present, there is this end and there's a far end. So this is exceptional, this is exceptional. This is too much quality, this is too much quality. Our least quality, our maximum quality. So it's like a speedometer. So you say 0, 10, 15, 20, 30, 100, 200. So it's increasing. So somewhere in the middle is the most common, more moderate hand. A more moderate quality it incorporates more qualities. So having looked at this person who is very critical, and we defined a critical person, now we are going to discuss further, what kind of information that we can draw from this kind of a hand. So let's say, assuming that you are too critical, like the Einstein example I gave. So if you are thinking all the time, when are you eating? So if Dell guy calls me and it takes me 5 minutes to say, who are you? I say, man, Nadeem, I'm amazed. I've been talking to you for 5 minutes and you have been talking to me, but now you're saying, who are you? Also, you know what? I was somewhere else entirely. My whole body, my whole concentration, whole thought process was somewhere else. It literally took me, and I remember that very clearly. It did happen to me. So, you're there. So critical. So then, am I going to remember if I ate? No, these are the things that you have to understand. When you're looking at, you have to start thinking critically. To be a good palmist, to read palms, to understand the personalities, you have to understand. You have to start thinking. It happened here, right here. I started my software house in Asia, in my country, Pakistan. And I was working in three time zones. I'm in England, and I was working with my clients in America and my programmers and engineers in Pakistan, software house, which I was running. I was doing all everything about it, everything about it. And I'm engineering these softwares, and I'm trying to automate because I can't pay tons and thousands of people. I'm very creative, and I'm very innovative, and I'm thinking of things that are happening now. I was thinking in 2007 and 8. I created software that was in 2007 and 8, which is now, for example, virtual kitchen. My wife was watching TV, and in New York, somebody started a virtual kitchen. I said, "Didn't you do this in 2007?" So, no. He started virtual kitchen. I started a virtual mall. I designed a virtual mall where you could just go, like in the Corona days, now it's happening. You're going and shopping online. I presented that idea in 2007, and I even engineered the whole software and application. So now when I'm working 18 hours because I'm working with 3 time zones, 5 hours this east and 5 hours west. And my wife, she would make me tea and say, can I have tea? And she will come and she will make me tea and say, you didn't give me tea. I say, well, it's been lying here for 2 hours. You didn't drink it. I have warmed it up 3 times. Now it's no good to drink. And this would happen every day because this thing, when it's rolling, when the brain is working, I'm not taking care of my health. I forget that, okay, I have to keep my hand this when I'm typing, I have to exercise my shoulders or take a break from my back, or, I have to put up my legs in so that the blood circulation goes in my legs, or there's no water retention, or I need to lie down and do some exercise. No, nothing of that sort. Nothing of that sort. So what do? I'm always constantly in my brain. There's no body. So these people, and I'm telling you, if I'm a palmist and this is my hand, I'm not that knot yet. There are people with the great knots, and I can show you those hands. So imagine what kind of people they could be if they are put into that kind of a situation where they have to utilize their brain. So this is why a critical mind and knot mind, if it's not put into the right place, it's a total waste. Because like I said, he's sitting in front of the TV, he's criticizing, the president of America, president of England, president of India, president of China, and saying the world is going this way or that way, what is going on. So he's criticizing because he has nothing else to do. But put this mind to work, you can have a better world. Because they can structure things. They can build things. They could be good engineers. They could be good mathematicians. Like I said, they could be CSI, good policemen. So they could be doing research for you. So that's what, the way these critical minds should be utilized. So when you give them food, they will look at the food. There's too much. It's too hot, too cold, too much milk in my coffee. Slightly more sugar in my coffee. Didn't you put enough sugar in my coffee? You must have heard those things. I'm pretty sure it happens in your home somewhere, or in your office, or in your colleagues, in your siblings somewhere, your maybe parents, your children. Something is always off in whatever you give to them, So they are always picking on something because, it's not perfect. It's not perfect, so it has to be perfect. They stand on things, they do things, they want everything. So it will not be wrong to say they are perfectionist. I do reflect it sometime, I've been called perfectionist, but I'm not a perfectionist. I'm a little bit towards tendency. I have a tendency of being, but had I been into a different environment when I was growing up, probably it would have been a different situation. So So when you are looking at a critical mind within a person with a knot, see that so much to talk about it. Just one little knot here. We remember we talked about this one nail, and I just touched it because I'm going to come back and again and talk about this little. This is going to change the whole personality. This thing is controlling the whole energy. Your body, brain, everything comes around and then goes out. And this is your point where everything goes out. This makes really an important part of your body. Very, very. So you see them, doing magic, with your fingers, okay, and mesmerizing you, hypnotizing you, using people use gestures, gestures, to capture you, your brain, your features and the gestures. A great people who presenters who go up on the stage, they talk to thousands of people on the crowd and all that. They are using all that power, and their hand gestures are important. They're conveying. So every little bend on your finger actually says something. Very interesting. Now, after that, this one is self, is who you are. So a person that we just discussed, a critical, perfectionist, he wants to do things his way, the right way, and he's not pretty strong. Solid, strong, big, not really crooked, but you can actually tell from if it's crooked or it's nicely bulged. You actually have to see. That's one point you need to differentiate. When the knots, they appear to be normal knots, it's a normal personality. If it's crooked, if it gives you an impression of being crooked, probably it is crooked. So the full hand, if it gives you an impression of being crooked, like the witch hand, probably you are a witch. Just metaphorically speaking. But again, no hand is one hand, and a typical hand, they're all different. They always have something. I've seen doctors with very practical hands, square hands, very practical. And on the other, researchers, paint. The other day I was watching TV and a painter, and I was surprised. Wait a minute, a painter had a square hand. What happened to those long, nice, smooth fingers? So then I started paying attention on his portions. So you will have to look into that. Very nice, very interesting subject, You will fall in love with this. This is God has created amazing things. And this is just world, We are not going into metaphoric things. We're just saying what is reflecting out of your body and onto your face, onto your figure. If you have a back problem, naturally you are bent. Isn't that just gesture? If you are if you're not happy, you're sad, it will show you from your face. The body reflects it. The soul, the mind, and your body, the brain, three things: body, brain, and soul. They will always reflect if they are in pain, or if they are happy, or if they are otherwise. They will try to enforce themselves into your life. And this will reflect from your body. So a person who has the joint, there's a self, a strong self, just like we talked about your thumb. Now you're talking about your joints. The bottom one. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 fingers. Even this one too. So if this is strong, this is you can see the knots. It's not like smooth, but it's like a slight bulge and nicely coming out. You are a person who really wants to take care of yourself. It's the opposite of that person who is like, no food, no walking, no talk, no exercise, no proper sleep. This is the person who wants something for himself. A person who is more oriented towards his, being care. He will, in the morning, he's not going anywhere, but he's going to take a shower at 9 a.m., have a nice breakfast on the table, very disciplined. And then, you know what? He's going to wear nice clothes and sit in front of the TV if he has to. So he will always put everything neat and nice because he's critical. He will do it. Here I need to mention an incident that happened, and I was like, oh my God, what I'm seeing here. A friend of mine whose son is a special child. So it's Eid holiday. So we are going to one of our religious scholar was here. So he wanted to see him too. So we three, I drove them to a care home where he was stationed temporarily because he was getting a little wild at home. So we went to see him. So he loved the food, he was eating. So we are talking to him, So we're sitting on a very joint table, where at least 20, 30 people could sit. So we are sitting on one end, and my scholar teacher one side, and my friend on the other side, and next to is his son. So we four are sitting and talking and eating, and we are trying to make him happy. The child himself is like 17, 18 years old or something like that. So comes his colleague, in the same building or same facility. So he comes from his room, passes through the dining area and goes into probably living area. Then he comes back and he sees us eating. So he probably thinks of, having food too. So he goes and gets his snacks or lunch or whatever it was. So he sits on the very far end, the king, the head of the family table, the seat, the single seat on the far end of a table. So he sits there and I'm watching him, because I'm observant. So I'm observing, he's passing and I'm noticing him, and he sits on the table. He comes away, he sits, it's like military style, totally disciplined. He sits very nicely. He puts his mat and his things very nicely in front of him. Knife and spoon and everything. And when he's done, all of a sudden he looks far and where we are sitting behind us. And I follow his eyes, his gaze. Next to the wall is a big chest of drawers, chest of drawers. And one of the drawers was this much open. This much. I couldn't notice it. Nobody could notice it, not in the building, anywhere. This guy, 30 feet away, he saw that half a centimeter, quarter of an inch open. He gets up, goes there, closes the drawer very nicely, very politely, back into his place. He comes and starts eating. And I asked my colleague, did you notice that? I said, what? I said, okay, I'll talk to you later. So then I told them. And we consider that child who is such a great brain. I mean, what a waste, my God. I mean, this person is such an observant. Probably this observation is problem for him. He's not an abnormal, or he's not a special. We call him special child. That's so unfortunate. I mean, look what he did. He's so precise. It's precision. Is being perfection. The perfectionist is killing him. He's putting him into a special home, care home. Do we understand that person? I mean, since then, my mind is not at rest. I'm constantly thinking. So I went on the internet that day. I tried to dig out information. I went to several, websites, astrology and all that. I drew up charts. I came up with some, God knows, I don't remember the name exactly, number, I mean. So there were like in thousands, maybe 8,000 or 9,000 cases of people where people had some kind of a special quality. And I said, you know what, maybe we can look into if this is going to be a project, we can actually look into what is happening with these people. They're just different people. They're not abnormal. They are not something, that we want. It's just that we want to see them as that. Just like, a critical mind wants to hate that person who is smooth finger, straight finger, says, okay, all right, I heard you, go away, I heard you, leave me alone. This guy says, no, you're not listening to me. You're not listening. This person, I go out and I say, I spend 1 year in research, and I come to you, you have a straight and soft, smooth finger. I say, you know what? Let me present to you my 1 year research. He said, I'm not interested. Oh, all right, please, you know what? You're my friend. Okay, all right. So 5 minutes later, you will see him scratching my board. I said, okay, just give me the final analysis. Just tell me what is the end of it. Don't give me all this. Just tell me what is, the bottom line of it. I'll accept that. I said, what kind of this person has spent 1 year in researching this, and he just wants to have it in 5 minutes. So for me, that person, for him, I am, so we are opposite. So who has the power to control others? So the person who controls others has the edge. So you have the power. So you say, this person is invalid, is disabled, is a special person. His mind is not functioning right. Put him in some special care. Take him away. Fix him. Rather than trying to understand those kind of people. So you will find almost every person off one way or the other. So it will be either either you have one tendency over the other tendency. You lack something. So that's the color. That's the spectrum. You know what? We had 7 colors. We used to have, rainbow is made of 7 colors. And 7 colors make a 1 color. And that's no color. It's no white color. And the black has no color. It doesn't reflect back anything. So we have white or black. So 2 colors, then spectrum says there's 7 colors. Now how many colors we have? Digital colors? It's a band of it. You go to your computer, you say, okay, you look into, some kind of a graphic color band, or, the circle. You'll see the contrast and match color, and there are specific numbers. You can actually digitally say it's a 4 to 5 digit colors that you can define, even 6-digit color or 7-digit color, and every one last number will change the color. There's so many variety of the colors. That's human beings. That's us. We are the same way. They are different one way or the other. No matter, even you may say, we look same. Because they appear to be same. Like I said, you're looking at my hand. You're not looking really at my hand. Because, you see this line ending here. It's not ending here. Going further down. It's a little thinner. You can't see it. The very, very small lines they will make up, a lot. They will change this line in many, many ways. So you can't just make up. You can, by looking at a hand, a general impression. A general canvas, okay, Nadeem is, okay, Nadeem is this, a person of, average critical mind, and a thinker is between this hand and that hand. So, and a square hand, he's a little bit of practical person, and he's a little industrious, not too. So, it all depends. And then, there are other factors. They will, from time to time, you're a very industrious person. You are always out there, but sometimes you get sick and you are not going anywhere. What is happening here? See that? So that sickness you will have to detect, where it's affecting you. That comes into the lines, okay, or other part of, even hands, your nail colors, for example. We have not gone into how your nail colors, the formation, the marks on it, the moon and the color and the pink, or we haven't gone into that yet. We'll go, okay? So we'll talk about health conditions, how a healthy hand looks like, how to determine a person is healthy or not. So coming back to this critical mind, and see, when I'm critical mind, so I'm when it comes to that one, I'm talking and talking and talking. The last video was over like what 50 minutes, and this is already gone to 25 minutes. So let me just give some subject matter information. So now, since we have discussed, the that you know first portion, second portion, third portion, knots, and these knots also. Okay, so it goes right. See, so if you look at it, this is bulging a little bit more, Saturn ones, and then Jupiter is there, and then you have this one. But sometimes, they're kind of, you can make a little line and smooth with slight variation, but generally speaking, it's a smooth one. But sometimes when people look at it, these can really bulge out. They're big. They can be ugly. They can be nice, smooth, but they could be big and ridge. Like these gaps. They're more deep gaps, and they are bulking, and they're like a really big one, like a walnut or something. Or like maybe that kind of big bulge out of here. So they really go like a road in the mountain or in the desert, where you're going. You need 4x4. So they're really up and down and really, So the smoother, the better. And the opposite is if it's not smooth, it's not even, they look ugly, strong. If these are not, that there's no balance in the personality, There's all these reflect energies and different characteristics of the body or of a person. So if they are not balanced, the body has an imbalance. It's common sense. I'm trying to teach you common sense, okay? How to really take it on a very simple level, okay? So once you understand the fundamental simple level, then you can actually develop on it. So a simple, smooth hand, simple, smooth personality. A rough ridge, a rough hand, tough hand with more ups and downs in this area is that they are not even, it's not a balanced personality. They all contradict each other in power and so what does these people look like? What do you expect from them? So maybe this person is careless and he doesn't care about himself. We said, okay, if this is strong, the person is more body oriented. But for body oriented is under only Jupiter. But if you compare the whole hand for all of them, so probably then it is not a balanced one. So the person doesn't care about his food, his routine, he's too overly. He is mostly overly involved in everything. The 1% we say. So along with the fingers, and if this is also an imbalance here, that's the far end of being knotted hand. So a knotted hand will, with this uneven, heavy ridges and troughs, we see that an imbalance happening in the in body and one's personality. So these people are careless, even though critical here, but on a physical level, maybe if they're in their shorts, probably you'll see them 3 days later. You'll see them in shorts, and if they have bread, probably if the bread has got fungus, they'll just go and eat it. They don't give a damn, because they are occupied somewhere else. So body doesn't appear to be that that good of a object to take care of, because this is not balanced. It should be balanced for those people to be more sophisticated, self-oriented people, saying, okay, I need to have a tie, I need to sit down and be very methodical, like the person I explained earlier. Maybe you will have to shower him. You take him to bathroom and say, sit in the tub and I'll wash you. Maybe you have to use chlorine to maybe whiten his feet, of that dirt that he gets. Maybe he wasn't wearing shoes or slippers for like 3 days, and what is he doing? If he's not taking care of himself, where is he? It's point to think. So he is here in the brain. So it's a tendency has grown too much to be here. That story, true or false, of Einstein, he wasn't dirty. I mean, don't take me wrong, but that thing that is truly or falsely is associated with him, that he put his umbrella in his bed and he stood in the near the door all night long, or he couldn't count the change because so much of brain work. He was thinking about the rest of the universe, how the universe, why the planets do not. I mean, we understand the gravity, okay? So we say, okay, gravity is pulling us towards Earth. So why the two planets are not colliding? If they pull each other, so something is pulling them back, holding them back too. So the concept of gravity changes. Is really gravity the gravity? Don't know. So he was thinking, so he is in a lift. The lift goes down very fast and he feels weightlessness for as if he was standing in the air. There was no gravity. And he said, oh, wait a minute, you know what? I have some idea here. So he comes up with a theory. Now, he's not a mathematician, a good mathematician. We really need to have it. So whatever is in his brain, he needs to put it on a piece of paper to prove it. But he's not as good. So he tries to go and take the help from other people to do the equations and all that. And he's all preoccupied, and it took him forever to resolve that issue. But you know what? In that quest, he was always within his brain. He was calculating things. He was doing multiplications. He was equations, and God knows what was going on through his mind. So this is what it is. So if they don't care about their body, I mean, they do. If they do care, it has to be smooth. If they are nice hands, they're smooth hands, then probably they are taking some care of their body. At least they take a shower a day, change their clothes. Maybe if forced, they will eat something. But otherwise, you leave them on a chair, come back 2 days later, they will still be found there. So that's, the knots. So for today, I'll leave it here, and we'll go on with the next lesson. And please pay attention to this, what I have told you about. And always there are two far ends, this end or that end. So you are trying to narrow it down to make a very moderate personality, a personality which goes this way or that way. And none of them, like I said, none of them is bad. There are different kind of people with a smooth personality, with smooth fingers and straight fingers. Hey, they accept things as they are. Critical people don't accept things they are. They look at it before why they are like that. It's just that, they just want to know why, how, what, these all W's are for them, So they look into it. And flat people, they say, you know what? Okay, you think, and we are going to do it. They just go and do their things, their adventures. So, again, you have to look at it, the same finger has a pointed finger, a square end finger, or is a flat finger. So it will make you industrious or a thinker or a practical person, just in one characteristics, just a little one. So think about it, and we will talk about in the next lesson that same fingers, if they are like, we already talked about smooth and straight fingers, but we are looking at it if those smooth fingers straight fingers or any other fingers, if they have any defects or defectless, they are defectless, or they are curved or crooked, or and the gaps between them, like remember in the very beginning we said, okay, if you're a smoker, so you're holding a cigarette here, and these days cigarettes are very very expensive, so they only hold a few cigarettes, the last but in our times the cigarettes were cheaper, and you would find 2 packs, maybe a carton. My friend had a whole 12 cartons in his trunk of his car. So one ends, the other goes. So smoking. So I was a smoker once, 20 years ago. So I had a bigger gap between the two, but that was because of smoking. But a natural gap. Is it like this, or is it like actually fingers will touch here and then there's a gap between the two? So the two knots touch each other and then it makes a gap. So there was a time when I was young, so my legs were like this, outward, band out. Like if you are doing a lot of horseback riding, so your legs are like curved. They were pure muscle, bone and muscle. So you could see that there's a big gap in between my 2 legs, all the way down, like a semi minimum, about 30 degree, 15, 20, 30 degree curve between the legs. But now you see them, they're like this. Over the time, by aging, those legs have become narrow. There's no more curve left. Literally, I had my feet like curved here. I couldn't buy a shoe. My foot size was 8, and I was buying 10 because this hunch couldn't get into the shoe. I had to buy a bigger shoe so that my foot can get in. So I had a really hunch in there, a big curve. But a few years ago, I felt pain in my leg, and you know what? Now both my feet are flat. You can see a little bit curve there, but when I stand up and put pressure, they go flat. But I'm sitting, you can see that curve. So things change. What I'm saying is things change. So when you're looking at a hand, do keep that in mind: age, class, society, backgrounds, changing, emerging. This is why hands are very tricky. If you don't follow them with the age, sometimes you see a line, you see a person, a lifeline 20 years, and say, oh, this guy is going to live in 20 years and die. No, maybe he's now 60 and it looks 60 now because the hand is growing with it. So when he was small, the line was this small. And he grew up, the hand grew, and line also grew. And then not only that, not because of the hand proportionally, but line also, as you assert your life, you become more stronger, and you want to live, and the environment provides you that opportunity to live longer. Your lifeline will actually go longer. Maybe it is like thinner line that you didn't see at the time, and there was a line that I like this one, is becoming more as I grow and I'm doing more brain work, and there's a reason that I'm doing the brain work, because I had some brain injury. And I need to re-exercise. So yesterday I was looking at a video. Somebody had made a baby, hardly 4, 5, 6 months baby, hardly able to stand by it. Must be 9 months. Usually about that time kids start to stand up, and so there's playing music, rock and roll. The kid is trying to move with the music, and his steps are off, his movements are off the music, but and his head is going this way, and then slowly and gradually, in a minute or two, the baby is moving along the music with the rhythm. It's becoming more, and all of a sudden, wait a minute, you know what? Old people do that. We as we grow old, our reflexes are going bad. Our reflexes are as bad as these babies. We can't hold anything. We'll drop things. will break things, and we will not walk straight line. And there are so many things happening because you're getting old and your reflexes are getting poor. You know what, we can, like a child, let's say, assuming I'm a child and I need to retrain myself like a child and rebuild my reflexes. So that's it, It's okay. Keep reading. There was a time I couldn't read one paragraph. After my injury, I couldn't read one paragraph. For years, I didn't read a book. I couldn't read it. My concentration would go away within after one paragraph. Last year, I was able to finish a book. I constantly am reading, squeezing in. So you know what? When you are looking at a hand, consider that willpower from here, and how industrious you are, how intuitive you are, how practical you are, how square hand. Where is the square hand within your fingers and your hand? Where is the square hand, which actually gives you a stability? So if somebody comes around and says, you know what, my boy, he doesn't like anything. He jumps around. First he wants to become a doctor. Now he wants to become an engineer. Now he wants to become a pilot. Now he wants to go to the army. He's changing his stance all the time. What is wrong? He's not. Maybe, is he a square hand? Is he a pointed hand? Or is he a flat hand? And where? In what portion? What part of the finger? Where in the palm? Where in the hand is that indication? That area will be affected. So if you see a square index finger, probably that's where, if it's like this one here, the lower end, which is physical. So something to do with that. But if it's more like more Venus based, more art, maybe critical, the mind and the communication and thinking and logic itself. So if this is squared, so he will be more pegged, more anchored in that area at that. So you can, looking at the hand, you can say, you know what, this is the stability within that hand. Where is the stability? If you can pinpoint, you got the solution. You got the solution. So all you need to do is, you know what, do this. In this area, you have a stability coming. So if you move into that area, you're all stable. Put your son into this. Force him to, study this, mathematics maybe versus, he still wants to be logic. Maybe he's not interested in mathematics, but chemistry. Maybe physics. Maybe aerospace, You never know. So these can actually give you that, okay, this mind is a scientific mind. But man is not stable. He's just jumping around, He's not interested in this. Maybe within the science, because he has a scientific mind, maybe he should be in some other field doing the same thing. So you never know. So critical. So like me, I didn't know where to go. So I said, after, I said I was not successful, even though I have a commercial pilot, instrument instructor, even flight engineers written, FE. So and I was a good pilot, and it was my passion. I wanted to, but I didn't have success in it. So for various reasons. So I said, okay, quit it, let's do something else. So I didn't know what to do. So should I do medicine? Should I go do pharmaceuticals, or go into this or that, or computers? So because my critical mind was telling me something like along those lines. But again, I was afraid of going and studying all that from scratch at that age, and then finding out that I'm not successful. So the computers were, the moment I touched them, I said, wait a minute. As I touched them, I knew that's what I need to do, because we were just very, very friendly together. So when you're looking at that, look at that stability. Where in the hand is the stability? Smoothness, crookedness, ugliness, too much of tendency, too little tendency, moderation, stability. That will help you. The fingers, by looking at them, will give you that. So this another an hour of it's, for me, I made two parts, but for me it's 2 hours of talking right now, and I've just covered the basics of knot fingers, knot hands, or knotted fingers or knotted hands. So there's much more to talk. It's a psychology, it's a human nature, it's a human behavior that we are looking at. So we can cover thousands of hours on. We can continue talking. So for now, understand this and bottom lines and the fundamentals. You will be fine. Okay, I'll see you in the next one, and we'll look at the quality of fingers. I mean, the crookedness and the gaps and all those kind of things. All right, and they also will throw a very nice light. Okay, I'll see you in the next video. Take care of yourself.